It's recording now. It's recording now. So I wanted to do a follow-up on the episode that I uploaded recently. So I got the sort of 2-week stay of execution with sort of pseudo disability pay, and I'm going to be trying out the antidepressants. Not that I think it's going to make much of a difference. What I will just say is that, like, people have said, like, well, you're spending too much time caring about politics, or you're spending too much time playing video games, and you need to be focusing on work. Bullshit, basically. Because I'm not feeling suicidal as a result of my mood. I'm not feeling suicidal because I'm upset at the world. I'm feeling suicidal because, quite simply, it's a calculatable value. You know, what is the likelihood that I will be able to get a job, right? It's calculatable. And the sort of the perspective of, well, you're spending too much time playing video games, you should be working. Like, I do get the essential point that, you know, it is better to be working on something to improve your chances of getting a job than nothing, right? I do get the fundamental idea that, you know, 0.5% improvement is better than nothing. But at the same time, it's not just about me and what I can do. I mean, I'm fucked, even in that definition, because it's like I've got autism, which means that I can't do anything customer service related, because when I get too stressed, I'm just going to be telling people to fuck off. And that means that I can't get through the interview process, because the interview process is, hey, room full of strangers, go. You know, like, I can problematize the CV, but when it comes to the interview, that's me in a load of strangers, in a room with a load of strangers, and I'm just gonna fail that. There is the fact that because of my growth hormone disorder, because of my growth hormone deficiency, I can't do anything that's manual labor, right? I look a big fucking guy, but I don't have the energy to devote to doing, you know, manual labor. I just can't do that. Which means that the kinds of jobs that I can do, I'm very unlikely to get, because the kinds of jobs that I can do leave me in competition with both all the people who are just coming out of university with the right degrees and, you know, the momentum and youth and vitality, and at the same time I am competing with all of these people who would be retiring but aren't, and have got all these years of experience upon them. You know, I am going to get annihilated by the millennials and the baby boomers, and squish. You know, it's a simple calculatable factor the chances of my actually succeeding at getting a job. And at the same time, I can't do universal credit because universal credit is not, it is set up in such a way that my brain can't deal with it, right? If it was a case of you must send out so many CVs, you must send out so many job applications, you must have so many cover letters sent out. If it was a case of your cover letter needs to be X words long, your CV and cover letter need to match this definition, right? Do X amount of volunteering per day, right? I could do that. But instead, the time is a factor. I can't meet a time target because it becomes like Zeno's paradox, you know. The more efficiently I work at something, the more time yawns like an abyss and, like, my brain can't deal with it. And I know if you don't have my brain, you're just gonna be sitting there screaming, going, "You're a fucking moron!" I'm fucked. I'm fucked. And the thing is that, like, my parents can support me for a while, and they might be able to support me for quite some time, but at a certain point, right, like, they're both pensioners. I'm fucked. You know, and I don't want to be a burden on my sister, and, like, even if, and that's, you know, not including the very likelihood that she might not be able to support me even if she wanted to, and I were able to cope with it. Like, I'm fucked. It is just a calculatable sort of certainty, right? That at a certain point it is not going to be financially viable for me to live anymore. It is just calculatable. And I know that if you're a right-wing person and you are a conservative-minded person, if you are someone who believes in the ability to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, then you're going to be flipping your shit right now, because this is against everything you believe in. The idea that someone can know ahead in advance that their chances of survival economically are nil, basically, and that it is just a matter of time before the money runs out and they're dead, right? I know that to a certain kind of individual, the fate that I have is almost insulting to your entire sort of ideology and existence, because you either don't think that this is possible, or you think that if this is possible, that I should be fighting and scrabbling and wasting my every last second of strength to pull myself up. And no, I'm not going to. Because if this is my life, if I am living my life on a ticking clock, I'm gonna fucking do my best to enjoy it. Because I have growth hormone deficiency. I have a shorter lifespan anyway. And thanks to my Kalman syndrome, I ain't gonna be having any kids anyway. Either. So my time is numbered. My days are numbered. I'm not going to waste my time flailing pathetically in the vain hope that maybe an autistic fuckwit who can't do manual labour and has got a 2-year gap in his fucking portfolio, that he will somehow develop enough experience to compete with fresh graduates who have got just the right degrees, and people who have got, you know, 60 years of experience in their chosen fields and professions. I know I'm not going to compete. I know that my chances of survival economically are slim to nil. I'm just trying to survive. And the thing is that I live my life in a way to try and survive. And I mean, essentially at this point, I want to hang on until my mum has settled in her new place. Because if I'm going to go down, I don't want to take out anybody else with me. If I am, you know, a dead man walking, I want to make sure that when I eventually keel over, that the people I care about will be able to manage. And so that's kind of why I'm trying the universal credit and why I'm trying the fucking manic antidepressants. It's not because I think they're gonna make a difference, but because the hope and the attempt might keep my mum going long enough that she can actually fucking get herself sorted out somewhere. Because I'm doomed. Right? Like, it's not depression, it's not, oh, I'm a bit mopey and down in the dumps, and oh my god, I don't like Donald Trump. No. It is a simple financial calculation of the likelihood of my viability in a society that is dependent upon having a job to survive. It's a cold equation. At some point, the oxygen is going to run out. At some point, the money's going to run out. At some point, I'm just going to be faced with the choice of starvation or homelessness, possibly both. And when that happens, I'm just going to fucking stab myself in the chest and be done with it. But it's not going to happen for a few months. It's not going to happen for hopefully a few years, maybe even a few decades. But it's going to happen because it's just calculatable. And because I have had 2 years 2 years staring down the barrel of this particular gun, waiting for it to fire. Funny thing is, I actually feel a whole lot better now than I did back then, because there was a period when I blamed myself for the barrel, when I was angry at myself, when I despaired, when I felt like it was my duty to pull the trigger on that particular gun. Because if my life was doomed, then I needed to pull the trigger earlier so that I wouldn't waste people I care about's money. But I see now that the calculation is different. That my life is different. That there are different priorities and different calculations in order. Anyway, there are things that I am living for. There are things that I love, and I suppose as a direct counterpoint to all these people saying, dude, you care too much about politics, it's making you want to commit suicide. Funnily enough, politics actually at the moment is something that is giving me hope and a reason to live, right? Because yes, Donald Trump is fucking scary right now. Or to be more precise, Stephen O'Bannon is fucking scary and Donald Trump is just fucking weird. But no, I just recently finished watching The West Wing, and there's a review of that going up right now on the main sort of Alexander Gordon Johan's channel, the Fox News channel. There's a review of The West Wing going up now, but essentially The West Wing sort of gave me hope of a better America. And what I'm seeing with Trump is that, you know, the actors who played these characters I cared about on The West Wing are now sort of stepping up to the plate in real life to help sort of rally the troops and keep people's spirits up to combat this tyrant in charge of America at the moment. And the fact that people are staging rallies across the world in defiance of Trump. The fact that yes, Theresa May was a fucking lapdog to Trump, but the British Parliament listened to the British people and said, no, we will not let this stand. We will not let that fucking racist come to America, come to Great Britain. We will not let him. Like, I am seeing humanity show itself and fight for its right to survive and to live, and I'm seeing people across the political aisles, conservatives standing up and saying, no, too far! And that's so uplifting. So very fucking uplifting. And there is good in this world worth fighting for. You know, we are getting better at fighting climate change. We are developing more and more efficient means of renewable and clean energy sources. We are getting better at recycling. We are getting better technologically. We are developing newer and better and more useful and interesting pieces of technology. And, you know, speaking personally, right, I've been in a creative slump for a while. For a big old while, right? And I've been, you know, writing attempt after attempt after attempt, you know. At first, it was like, okay, I'm going to do it. The Farshnik has come back, and he is fighting against the Donald Trump analog. And then it's like, okay, that's not going to work. Okay, and then the Keystream joins Farshnik in the fight to lead to lead Britain against Donald Trump, and then that didn't work. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to do a story about a woman chasing after a guy, and then that didn't work. And it's like, I'm gonna try that again, and I'll try that again, and no, I'm just gonna do a fucking fantasy story about me getting all the pretty girls, and then that didn't work. And then it's like, okay, I will do a new Flash Nuke story, and then that didn't work. And now I think I have stumbled upon a thing that is actually working, which is that I am essentially doing a Flash Nuke reboot. And a Flash Nuke reboot that keeps with the sort of lore and mythology of the sort of myth arc. But that steps away from the more problematic elements of the character. And I've realised that essentially all my failures have basically been drafting. You know, like, my big failure as a writer is that I love to write, I can't edit for toffee. And what I've basically been doing is drafting. Is the editing process. And I'm playing Rome Total War at the moment, and I'm bloody loving it. I mean, okay, I lost the Scipio campaign, primarily because I was like, I will take over the whole world. Whereas actually, that's not how you're supposed to win Rome Total War. Like, the way you win Rome Total War is that you knock out enough of the other empires sufficiently enough that you can try to take out Rome itself and then march on the other people, right? But I'm just so used to playing Civ 5, so I'm just like, I will knock out everybody else! And it's like, no, that's not how it works. Incidentally, Rome Total War does seem to run quite well on my computer, so I don't know, maybe I'll see if I can do a Fraps game of it at some point. Although, genuinely, you need to be watching Mania True Nerd Let's Play Rome Total War, because it is just fucking glorious. Yeah. There is good in this world worth fighting for, and so long as I am here, there are things that I am fucking glad that I am here to see and witness. So, yeah, just don't be too worried, people. The clock may be ticking down quietly in the background, and I might not know how much time there is on it, but I ain't in a rush about it. You know, I'd like to live, and while I do live, I try my best to live a good life. So if you are someone who is looking at me and you are screaming your tits off, going, why aren't you putting more effort into X, Y, or Z? You can go fuck yourselves, because ultimately I know the odds here, and I'd rather live the life that I have left to the best of my ability than live a much worse life in a vain, futile hope that maybe I can edge onto it for a little bit longer. Anyway. To the future! To feminism and to the eventual destruction of Donald Trump's regime. Goodbye.